Hello dear friends, how are you all doing? Welcome to the last science lecture video for semester 3. In this semester we talked about the four basic parts of a plant: the roots, the stem, the leaves, and the flowers. We said that some plants grow flowers, they are flowering plants. Some others do not bloom at all, so we call them non-flowering plants, such as the dot plant, such as ferns and mosses. Let's start talking about the parts of the plants and their jobs. Plants have green parts that we call leaves. The job of the leaves is to catch sunlight and to take in carbon dioxide. Some plants have broad leaves, like the oak tree, like the orange tree. Some others have needle-like leaves, like the cactus plant and the pine tree. Plants also have a stem. The stem is the part that supports the plant and carry the leaves, the fruits, and the flowers. This plant, for example, has a green stem that is growing above the soil. Usually, stems grow above the soil. They are above ground stems. Some trees have trunks. Trunks are woody, hard stems that grow above the ground also. The palm tree, for example, has a stipe. The stipe is a woody stem that grows high without ramifying, without making branches. Green stems, trunks, and stipes are examples of above ground stems. Some other plants have underground stems, like the onion plant. The onion plant has a bulb, which is an underground stem. This plant has also fleshy, edible leaves. We eat the leaves of this plant, of the onion plant. The garlic plant is another example of plants with bulbs. The potato that you eat is actually a tuber. It is a stem that stores food. Bulbs and tubers are examples of underground stems. When you eat a carrot, you are actually eating the roots of the carrot plant. These roots store food, so we consider them as storage roots. So, plants can have storage roots. They can have also tap roots, which are the roots that consist of one main root with smaller side roots. And plants can have fibrous roots, which look like a messy hair. Storage roots, tap roots, and fibrous roots are examples of underground roots. Roots are usually the hidden part of the plant that is responsible for taking water and minerals from the soil. When the roots grow above the ground, we call them aerial roots. In order to grow, plants need to take minerals and water from the soil, carbon dioxide and oxygen from the air, and sunlight energy. Some animals like rabbits, squirrels, mice, horses, sheep, and other examples of animals feed on these plants. Living things like the plants and animals, with all the non-living things that they use, like the sun, the air, the soil, the water, make what we call an ecosystem. So today's lesson is about ecosystems, but what is an ecosystem? As I just said, an ecosystem is made of all the living things and the non-living things in a place. An ecosystem includes all the living things such as plants, animals, maybe people, and also it includes all the non-living materials, for example, the rocks, the air, the water, and the sun in a place. Let's, before we start talking about ecosystems, play a game about living things and non-living things. Where are the living things in this game? We have an airplane, an opossum, a teddy bear, and a statue. Which ones are the living things? You have to think of the elements or the things that need water, that need food, that breathe, that grow, and at the end of their lives, they die. The airplane is a non-living thing. It doesn't grow, it doesn't need food or water. The opossum is an animal, so it grows, it needs food and water, and it breathes. The teddy bear is a non-living thing. The statue is also a non-living thing. So the opossum in this case is the only living thing. Living things, such as the snake, the leopard, need a place to live and grow. The snake and the leopard are animals that live on land. This toucan is an animal that lives on land also. Toucans, snakes, and leopards are animals that share the sources of food, of water, and of oxygen in this forest ecosystem. Fish, for example, and sea stars live in water. They share the sources of food and of oxygen in this marine ecosystem. Oceans and seas are considered as marine ecosystems. Camels are animals that live on land in a desert. The palm tree is another example of living things that we can see in a desert ecosystem. So you know now that there are different types of ecosystems: a forest ecosystem, marine ecosystems, and a desert ecosystem. Let's use this game to see other different types of ecosystems. Where is the wetland ecosystem? Is it the one that has draining of seawater, or it's the one that has a land covered with water during most of the year? It's called wetland, so I guess this is the answer. Wetland ecosystem. Tropical coral reef ecosystem. The second one, we just saw the figure. This is the wetland ecosystem. So the first one should be the one showing the tropical coral reef ecosystem. That's right. Deep sea ecosystem. So both are water ecosystems. The first figure shows an ecosystem with bright sunlight. The second one has no sunlight, it's dark. In the deep sea, there is no sunlight. So I will be choosing the second one. The deep sea ecosystem has no sunlight. Estuary ecosystem. Is it the one with a mix of fresh and salty water or draining of seawater? I will choose this randomly. I'll take the second one. Okay, this is correct. So we are playing this just to show you that there are different and plenty of examples of ecosystems. Let's take a look on this ecosystem. You can find this figure in your book on page 33. What are some non-living things that we can find in this file? The sun, good job. The sun is an abiotic factor or a non-living thing found in this ecosystem. Cars are considered as abiotic factors found in this ecosystem. Water is also another abiotic factor or a non-living thing in this ecosystem. The air is also called as an abiotic factor or a non-living thing in this file. What are some living things that you can find in this file? Animals, good job. Animals are biotic factors or living things. People are also biotic factors or living things. Plants are examples of biotic factors found in this file. Animals and plants need a place to live in. That's what we call a habitat. So, The habitat of a plant or an animal is the place where it lives, such as a home or a shelter. In this farm, for example, we have the house, which is the habitat for the people. We have this pond as a habitat for the ducks. And we have the barn as a habitat for cows. Tell me now, how do plants and animals use this place or this environment? People and animals share the sources of food, they use the sources of water, and they also use the sources of oxygen in this ecosystem. To grow, plants need minerals, water from the soil. They also use the source of carbon dioxide, which is the air, and they also need sunlight energy. The sun is the source of the sunlight energy needed for the plant. This is a simulation of the pond ecosystem, and let's together find the biotic factors and the abiotic factors in this ecosystem. Plants, birds, insects, frogs, fish are all examples of biotic factors in the pond. They are using the abiotic factors found in here, such as the water, such as the air, and the sun. So this is it. Today's lesson was about ecosystems. An ecosystem is made up of all the living things and the non-living things that they use in a place. Living things are also called biotic factors, such as plants, animals, and people. These biotic factors use the abiotic factors that surround them in their environment. Examples of abiotic factors are air, soil, water, sun, rocks, etc. In an ecosystem, you can find plenty of habitats for the living things that live there. A habitat is the place where a plant or an animal lives. And there are different examples of ecosystems, like the forest ecosystem, like the ocean and the sea, which are marine ecosystems, like the desert ecosystem. These ecosystems are different since they have or they contain different living things and different non-living things. I will be happy to answer all of your questions if you have any. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.